Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. In just a few days, we are going to be marking a day that many thought was one of the most traumatic days that independent India has had. On the 6th of December, 1992, that's almost exactly 20 years ago, the Babri masjid was demolished. Some people hailed it, a lot of others said it was a day of shame. 20 years later, where are we when it comes to politics of that nature? Where are we in connection with Ram Mandir type divides? Is the India of 2012 a country that would not go down that sort of a path again, not be moved by issues like that again? That essentially is what we are discussing today on The Big Fight. And joining me, many people who were actually reasonably involved in either covering or watching or observing what was happening in 1992. I'd like to welcome Senior Congress leader Manishankar Iyer. It's great, sir, to have you with us. Mr. Jai Bhagwan Goyal, who's the chief of the Rashtrapati Shiv Sena, who was a member of the Shiv Sena at that time. There's a personal note I have to say about that, which I will come to in just a couple of minutes. We have Mr. Kamal Farooqi, who is a member of the Muslim Personal Law Board, now with the Samajwadi Party, but he's been with the Muslim Personal Law Board all this time. Samark Tully, who was one of the people who covered the Ayodhya movement at great length and was locked up in a room, I believe, on the 6th of December, and of course followed both the movement, the build-up, the demolition and the aftermath. Chandan Mitra joining us, Rajya Sabha MP from the BJP, who Chandan, I suspect, was following it more from the journalistic angle in 1992. But great to have your views.
Yeah, I was there to cover it.
You were there on the 6th of December, but you were covering it at that time as a journalist, and before you were actually a member of the BJP. So great to have your views. And we're going to be joined in just a couple of minutes by Zafar Riyab Jelani, convener of the All India Babri Masjid Action Committee. Manishankar Iyer, is the India of today a very different place, but also what do you think really led to that particular day?
I think it's the worst day in the history of independent India. I regard it as Black Sunday. I regard it as a day which we must never forget. For if we ever again do what happened on that day, it'll be disastrous for our country. Your second question was, can we move on? How can we move on from the building of our nationhood? The bonding adhesive of our nationhood is secularism. And the issue in Ayodhya that day was less a question of the Ram Mandir and the masjid than it was a question of whether or not we are proud of our Islamic heritage, which is as much a part of our composite nationhood as the heritage we have from any other religion or any other culture of the several regions of India. So to my mind, the challenge on the 6th of December was not to brick and mortar. The challenge was to the very nature of our nationhood. Okay. India won. India won because the Hindus were in favor of a composite nationhood of India. They rejected these fascists who brought down that dome, those domes, and therefore I believe that while on that day it was a day of shame, it was also a day of vindication of our nationhood. But we have to remember that secularism is a work in progress and has to be addressed on a daily, hourly basis by every Indian.
Okay. Can I turn to Mr. Jai Bhagwan Goyal, and here's where the personal historical aside comes. 20 years ago, I covered the Ayodhya movement at great length, and shortly after the demolition, trying to find out the people who were involved in the demolition, my investigation led me to Shahadra, where I met Mr. Jai Bhagwan Goyal, who was then with the Shiv Sena. He gave a television interview to me where he said that yes, he was one of the people who had planned the demolition and worked on the demolition. That interview then became a subject to the Lieber Hands Commission, and Mr. Goyal did do time in jail as well. Goyal ji, उस दिन जो किया और आपने 20 साल पहले आपने मुझे टीवी इंटरव्यू दिया था और कहा था कि आप उन लोगों में से थे जिन्होंने तैयारी करी थी, आप चढ़े थे, जो मनीशंकर अय्यर भी कह रहे थे, फैशिस्ट एलिमेंट्स ने उस ढांचे को गिराया था, आप उसमें शामिल थे, एक तरह से आपने नेतृत्व भी किया था. क्या आपको लगता है कि वो गलती थी?
वो कोई गलती नहीं थी. वहाँ पर श्री राम जी का जन्म स्थान है और था. पिछले दिनों माननीय इलाहाबाद कोर्ट का जो डिसीजन आया है 3 जजों की बेंच ने जो डिसीजन दिया है, पूरे तथ्य इकट्ठे करके, खुदाई करके, पुरातत्व विभाग की सब जानकारियाँ इकट्ठियाँ करके 15-20 साल में सारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने के बाद जो कोर्ट का फैसला आया है वो यही है कि वो
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस डिसीजन को स्टे कर दिया है, तो अभी
वो स्थान श्री राम जन्मभूमि जन्म स्थान ही है। और हम लोग हमेशा इस बात को कहते आए हैं कि हमने जो तोड़ा है वो मंदिर तोड़ा है, वो बाबरी मस्जिद थी नहीं, वो मंदिर था।
आपको मंदिर तोड़ने का अधिकार किसने दिया?
हम हिंदू हैं, हम अपने मंदिर को तोड़ के उसका पुनर्निर्माण कर सकते हैं।
पर वो अधिकार आपको
मंदिर
किसने दिया था? वो अधिकार आपको किसने दिया था? बाकी हिंदुओं ने क्या कहा था कि आप आइए हम मंदिर तोड़िए?
देखिए, बाकी हिंदू वहां 5-7 लाख हिंदू थे, 5-7 लाख देश के हिंदुओं का वहां इकट्ठ था और सबका एक मत था कि ये बौद्धापना ढांचा हटना चाहिए और यहाँ श्री राम मंदिर का, श्री राम जी का भव्य मंदिर बनना चाहिए। उसको हटाने के लिए हम लोगों ने उसे गिराया था। मुझे उस बात का गर्व है और गर्व रहेगा। उसके लिए जेल में भी गए हैं, उसके लिए सीबीआई को फेस कर रहे हैं। उसके बाद की ना चिंता है ना थी। हमने जो किया वो ठीक किया, क्योंकि इस बात का प्रमाण माननीय इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट भी दे चुका है।
Okay, I'm actually quite surprised at the applause.
It's shocking that, and these are the youngsters, in fact, who have not been in a position to understand what is the basic ideas of the whole secularism. What Mani Bhai
I see that one lady is shaking her head, so there are people who didn't applaud.
Actually, can I just turn and ask?
And although I'm not inviting you to disrupt the show, I hope that in view of this demonstration that we've had of support for Mr. Goyal, those who could have done the same thing but are too civilized to do it will now take the initiative in doing it.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.